The Distinguished Service Award is the AHA's highest honor. This year we pay tribute to an individual whose integrity, political know-how, and passion for patients have led to increased access to care, greater acceptance of evidence-based medicine, and truly integrated healthcare delivery. For 40 years, Dr. James Mongan has worked tirelessly for hospitals and patients. Since his early work as a Senate staffer and in the Carter administration, Jim has been a staunch advocate for the underserved. While serving as executive director at Truman Medical Center in Kansas City, he was instrumental in getting disproportionate share payment adjustments for our country's safety net hospitals. Under his leadership, Boston's Partners Healthcare became nationally recognized for its high-performance medicine, achieving wide adoption of electronic medical records, increased transparency, and better care coordination. Jim has been an active and valued member of the AHA, serving on the Board of Trustees, Regional Policy Board, and the President's Forum. Through his policy work with the Institute of Medicine, Kaiser Family Foundation, and the Commonwealth Fund, Jim is a national expert on healthcare financing, cost, and quality. He was a strong voice in healthcare reform in Massachusetts and in our nation's capital. In a year when Congress passed historic legislation extending coverage to 32 million people, I can't think of anyone more appropriate to recognize than Jim Mongan. So from the entire AHA team, your colleagues on the board, congratulations. Your quiet determination to do the right thing and push for excellence is an inspiration for us all.
I've known Jim Mongan for probably nearly 30 years. He was a great advocate for the people in Kansas City when he worked at Truman Hospital. He laid that foundation for it to be not just a public hospital and servant of people, but actually to be a great hospital and great system. When he went off to the Mass General and then later run Partners, everybody said, well, we've lost a great ally in public hospitals since he's gone to the private sector, but that wasn't true. Jim continued to be concerned about vulnerable populations, and what he really tried to do was to find resources like DISH that we could use to take better care of our patients.
At Mass General, as the president there, he had a tremendous impact helping to stabilize an organization that was coming out of some difficult years, helping build a very strong relationship between the physicians and the hospital, and help setting the hospital on a course that has proven very successful over the last 15 years. And there are no hidden agendas with Jim. He really just wants to do the right thing. I mean, he really cares deeply about people and disadvantaged people in particular.
Partners benefited, I think, enormously from Jim's time and leadership here. His general sense of what was going on in the health policy arena made him an enormous value to us.
I think his leadership is all about the patient. It's all about trying to reduce errors and improving communication among providers to promote patient-centeredness. Jim's commitment to the community is real. The Partners hospitals have partnerships or own community health centers, and at a time when payments have changed, Jim has stayed steadfast in his commitment to them, to psychiatric services, to rehabilitation services. It hasn't been about payment. It's really been about the total needs of an academic health system in being able to provide the greatest good for patients and for a population.
He wants basically to make sure we're doing the right thing, and then he relentlessly pushes small incremental steps, but always forward, never backward, never changing the direction. And whether it's in the public policy arena or within the care delivery arena of Partners, he's the same way. He just constantly pushes ahead.
So whether that's in his role as a board director and our grant making, Jim goes right to the point, and it's an amazing ability to do that.
He's a sage. His wisdom, his experience really make him someone that you want to listen to, you want to hear their opinion. Nothing happens in Massachusetts healthcare that Jim's voice is not sought.
He's been the love of my life for going on 38 years. I think the fact that he's been given this award is an accomplishment. It's sort of a thankless task to try to help people who are not in a position to help themselves, by no means by their own fault necessarily, but I just think that keeps him going. It just to help others.
I think everybody should try and leave the world a little better place than they found it. Well, I suppose universal health care has always seemed to me to be a fairly straightforward and simple issue of social justice, which I've always felt is an important value in a society that talks about moral values and family values. I think there's much to be hopeful about on the horizon. I think the biggest challenge is going to be the cost issue, because we have a real conundrum in which society as a whole and each of us as individuals, we want all of these new things that medical care can do, and yet we're not quite sure that we're able or willing to pay for it. And I would hope to help to enable the next generation who are going to have to continue to grapple with these problems of coverage and cost and organizational structure. I'd like to help them understand some of why these issues are important, some of the things we've tried that have failed, and some of the things that look like they have more prospects going forward. Oh, well, I guess looking back over a career, in a way, the fondest memories are probably family memories, you know, your kids growing up and the various stages in their life. I think those are the things that stick with you at the end of a career.